The Missouri Tigers look to build off an 11-win campaign a season ago, and Eli Drinkwitz and company have put themselves in prime position to be a favorite to make this year's 12-team college football playoff. These are my best and worst case scenarios for Mizzou in the 2024 college football season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, which drops daily: iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. The following is brought to you by our friends over at RHOBACK. Guys, head over to RHOBACK.com and use the promo code SECU at checkout to get 20% off your entire first purchase. Guys, whatever you need, they have got it over at RHOBACK, whether it's polos, long sleeves, hoodies, quarter zips, pants, shorts, you name it, guys. And they are everywhere, by the way. I was at Masters Week last week, went out to the Masters, guys. I saw so much freaking RHOBACK. I saw that dog logo everywhere, including, by the way, their Azalea collection, which is out for a limited time. You don't want to miss out on this, guys. And with the weather warming up, it's golf season, it's baseball season. We got spring games, football season's around the corner, right? It's tailgate season every single day. You want to make sure you're rocking with our friends over at RHOBACK. So again, head over to RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code SECU at checkout to get 20% off your entire first purchase. Again, guys, 20% off all hoodies, polos, quarter zips, you name it, they got it. SECU, that promo code at RHOBACK.com to get 20% off. Eli Drinkwitz and the Missouri Tigers look to build off an 11-win season in 2023. And these are my best and worst case scenarios for what Mizzou football may or may not be this season. And with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and pull up the schedule. Now, there's no such thing as an easy schedule in the SEC, but there are favorable schedules. And when you talk about a schedule that's set up well for a football team to build off what they did last year, to answer maybe some questions they're going to have early on, this one sets up rather well, in my opinion, right? And guys, let me preface also by saying this. We talk best case, worst case. This isn't as simple as, okay, best case is 12-0, worst case is 0-12, right? These are realistic best case and worst case scenarios. Every football team has questions. Best case, assuming most of those questions work out in the positive. Worst case, assuming most of those questions work out in the negative. And these are not predictions. These are simply, as I stated, best case and worst case scenarios. So let's start with the best case scenario for Mizzou. And again, guys, you look at this schedule. You should start 4-0, right? Missouri should not have a blemish on their record through the month of September. Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and Vanderbilt. Your first big SEC test coming and first real test of the season. You're at Texas A&M to kick off the month of October, but you do have a bye week before that game. Really interesting or weird road trip to UMass. Shouldn't be a problem for Mizzou, but I think that just stands out on the schedule. Kind of a weird to see an SEC team go up there to Massachusetts. Auburn at home at Alabama on October 26th. That one's going to be a lot of fun. You do get Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma, Texas jumping into the league. You do get OU. You go to South Carolina late. That could be tricky, although you've won 5 straight in that series. You go to Mississippi State late. You wonder with Jeff Levy, has he got that thing clicking? Is that going to be a difficult game or more difficult than it looks right now? And then you got the Arkansas Razorbacks, a team that you have absolutely dominated of late. So, guys, when you look at this schedule, and I know that Vegas isn't the end-all, be-all, but Missouri's going to be favored in which games, let's say, are they not going to be favored? At Alabama. And outside of that, guys, I don't know if they're an underdog in any other game. I really don't. I mean, Maybe the Oklahoma game, if Oklahoma's having a big season, that game is going to be a lot of fun. There's been kind of this rivalry that has been built between Mizzou and OU. But I mean, if Missouri is having the kind of season they are hoping to have, you're probably a favorite in 11 of 12 games, right? Best case scenario for Missouri is this. You return Brady Cook. You return Luther Burden. You return Theo Weiss. You do lose Cody Schrader, but you got a two-headed monster in running back, and the guys that are returning and guys you added from the transfer portal. Running game will most likely not take a step back. The big question, guys, will be the defense. You lose Blake Baker. You got a new defensive coordinator. You did bring in a slew of talent from the transfer portal, but what is that transition like? Again, good news is this. You have the early part of the schedule to figure things out. Best case scenario for Mizzou, I think 11-1, guys. 12-0, in my opinion, is too aggressive. Okay, 12-0 is just too aggressive. But 11-1? 11-1 is doable. 11-1 can happen for Missouri, guys. I mean, listen, to say that Missouri can't win in Tuscaloosa against the Alabama Crimson Tide, to say they can't do that, I think that's too bold. I think Missouri absolutely can win that football game. Now, this is the SEC, guys. You're going to trip up somewhere. You're going to stub your toe. It's just inevitable. The schedule's too difficult on a week-in, week-out basis. But if everything clicks, if the stars align, if things come together, I think 11-1 is doable for Missouri. As crazy as that may sound, right? As wild as that feels to say, Missouri's got crazy momentum right now. They crushed in the transfer portal. And again, guys, this schedule sets up well. You beat Texas A&M on the road, guys. You should be 6-0 going into that game against Auburn at home. And I don't think you should lose that game. You could be 7-0 going to Bama. And guys, with that kind of momentum, and who knows what Bama's going to be this year, I mean, all bets are off at that point. So best case scenario, guys, for the Missouri Tigers, I've got 11-1. Let's talk worst case scenario, the other side of the spectrum. Now, Missouri has probably got one of the widest spreads when it comes to the ceiling and the floor, okay? Because there's a lot of pushback, and I think, Missouri faithful, you're tuned into this video, I think you're going to see a lot of pushback this offseason. For whatever reason, Ole Miss is getting far more of the love than Mizzou. And I bring Ole Miss up because it was Ole Miss and Mizzou that were the surprise teams in the SEC last year, right? Ole Miss is getting far more love for whatever reason. I will say this. You look at what Missouri lost defensively, okay? You lose your defensive coordinator in Blake Baker. You lose a number of impact guys from that secondary. I mean, they lost a lot of production on the defense. The offense is going to be really good, could be better than last year, okay? I don't think there's going to be that much of a drop-off at running back. I think even worst case, guys, the running game is still going to be solid. But there's a lot of games last year that were one-score games that went Mizzou's way. It was a magical season. And I think that's the big question for Missouri. Was it a one-off, or is this who they are now? Because prior to that, guys, this time last year, we were talking about Eli Drinkwitz being on the hot seat. A 6-6 coach, 7-5 at best. I called him the epitome of 500. The Jeff Fisher, I should say, of college coaches. His name just slipped my mind there. Jeff Fisher in the NFL was 8-8 every single year, went 500, found a way to stay employed and get extensions. Eli Drinkwitz was the Jeff Fisher of college football up until last year. Worst case scenario, defense takes a step back. Maybe there's some teams on this schedule that are better than expected. I'm looking at Texas A&M. I'm looking at Auburn. I'm looking at Bama, of course. I'm looking at Oklahoma. Maybe this is the year South Carolina snaps a streak. Maybe this is the year Arkansas. They're much improved. God knows, maybe Mississippi State with the Cowbells, guys. It can happen. Things can snowball both positively and negatively. Worst case scenario for Mizzou, I've got 7-5. Now, again, guys, this is not a prediction. I am not locking in 7-5. This is under the assumption that the majority of the question marks this football team has go in the negative. So is it likely? It's not likely, but it's the worst case scenario. And I think it's the floor for this football team. So worst case, 7-5. Again, that would take the defense taking a pretty sizable step back and a number of teams on this schedule maybe being better than expected, and maybe some of those one-score games not going Missouri's way. So now, I ask you, again, my best case, worst case for the Missouri Tigers this season. I got best case 11-1. Worst case 7-5. What do you see as the ceiling and the floor for Eli Drinkwitz's program in 2024? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, which drops daily: iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us all across social media as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.